penalties, amazing all around performances.
I have to say, initially I was very skeptical of Brazil, but as the tournament went on and they were wrecking goals, I started getting a little stressed in case they would meet Argentina. But today, to be honest, it felt much more like how they played in the Copa when they played Argentina. They felt like they were out of ideas.
You mean Brazil?
Yeah, they didn't look convincing.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I've watched enough knockout games to know that sometimes it's not that you are not. It's just like that game, you just don't do it. Because if you look at their track record, they were convincing, they were very clinical, at going. So now all of a sudden they can't score. You wonder what happened. Same players, nothing really changed. So sometimes it's just football doing what football does, man. The ball is round, it can go anywhere.
What I'm trying to say is, when it matters, I don't think they are usually able to turn up and see out games, especially at the World Cups, like these major tournaments. And they've been losing in the quarterfinals for I think 3 out of the last 4, if I'm not mistaken. I saw some stats today. And they usually are the favorites. They usually have the better talent on the field. They just cannot grind out wins at that point where it's not just your talent, And so, I mean, it's a good thing for me. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, the other thing is that's true for every other team except for Germany, that won in 2014, Spain that won in 2010, and France that won in 2018. So every other team that were bigged up to be one of the favorites did the same thing. So I wouldn't take that as a big criticism for Brazil, because when big teams get knocked out, it's usually in that same fashion. Penalties, you're out. That's it. One goal, you're out. So it's just how tournaments go. I wouldn't read so much into it, to be honest. That's just how tournament football is like.
Well, speaking of one man that at least brought some magic at some point, what do you make of the score?
Yeah, that was he got composed, and also he hit it high when the net was there, because if he had hit that low, it was probably going to be blocked. That was some goal. Yeah, they got too excited, and that was why Roy Keane was saying that they're getting too excited too. They should have calmed down. The goal that they conceded, it was unnecessary for them to be exposed like that at that time. There was no reason for them to be all forward and leaving the gaps behind.
Look at how many Croatia guys were up there. It was a nice counter attack, which is what I was telling you the other time. I've never really been convinced of their defending. That's part of that. When you break that initial Brazil press, it looks chaotic. It did look like it.
I think some of it is just the benefit of hindsight, because if you would say, okay, let's pick the weaknesses of Brazil before this game, people would run out of ideas like, okay, what is Brazil doing wrong? Because they've played a perfect tournament so far. It reminds me of Pep's City last season in the Champions League. They pulled the perfect run until the 88th minute of the semi-final against Real Madrid, and then they lost it. So sometimes I think it's just the benefit of hindsight, where we are trying to analyze to say maybe there was something in their defense, but like I said, I just think that it's just the tournament and the drama of football.
They call it Monday night quarterbacking in America.
Yeah.
This guy, a hero.
Yeah.
The first of the two keepers of the teams that advanced today, that just was outstanding. Do you think it was him outstanding, or it was poor penalties?
It was definitely him. Not even just penalties. He saved a lot of shots on target that could have gone in. He really stood up for throughout the game. Martinez showed his class during the penalties. That was very good. I got a little bit worried when he was getting overhyped after saving those two. I'm like, the game is not finished. Haven't you learned yet? that the game is not finished. But
Yeah,
luckily, they managed to pull through.
I think saving the first two penalties is usually, it just puts everyone that's gonna kick for the next team just under immense pressure. One is gonna at least miss or something. But yeah, I was kind of thinking about it too. It felt like you might be celebrating a little too early.
Especially after Enzo missed.
And then Enzo missed, yeah. But one man that was not missing, this one. This pass through his legs. He's not even looking at Molina. How does Messi do things like this?
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. That was something. Man. But I think this goal was not as good as the last minute Netherlands goal.
No. The goal, at least here, what I've at least come to marvel was the way it was created, not the finish itself. Because when you look, I saw
on both aspects I'm referring to, because that free kick also, the way it was taken straight out of FIFA the game.
But anyone can do that, Vincent. It's anyone can fake like they're gonna take a shot and just do a little clip pass. It was genius, right? But what I'm saying is, how many players can pick the ball up when it seems like there's no real space? And when you looked at the replay, because the commentators were talking about it, his eyes were looking all the way to the left side of the field, which is not where Molina was, right? The pass that he actually gave. And he was not free. What's his name was Ake was so close to him, and he can still see and know the run that Molina is making, perfect weight and everything through the legs. And it was just that little detail, but the finish was still good. But I don't know, man. And the goal you were talking about, I mean, he came on a yellow card, scored the first header. He had the game of his life. I can. He was at Burnley, or where was he?
He was at Burnley. Got relegated with Burnley, and then I think he went to Besiktas. I'm not sure, but I think it's Besiktas.
I was wondering, I'm like, I know this guy. Where exactly from? Then after the game, I was like, oh, I know where he's from. But he took his 2 goals like a pro. I mean, when his team needed him, Depay and them were not in
too.
And the penalty too, yes, exactly.
Scored 3 goals. He scored the hat-trick.
He did, man, but this guy.
Yeah, that was some saves.
He's built for this type of stuff. It's going to be interesting to see the 2 goalies, if they do go to penalties in the next semi-final, how he's going to go down. But he's the hero, I guess, for Argentina.
Honestly, if any team can actually beat Argentina, it could be Croatia. The thing is, now, I said it in the last episode, that now any team can beat any team. That's just the reality of it.
You're very right. I think you can't write off Croatia, and especially for most people, 2018 World Cup is still fresh in our minds. Nobody gave them a chance. They went the distance. You look at them right now, you would have thought, they lost Rakitic, they lost Mandzukic. They don't have that cutting edge no more, and Modric is a lot older. You're not going to see much of that, but
they got fresh blood, but just that the fresh blood that they got, they are not really like famous as Mandzukic was, and so on. But they still have, Modric,
still same identity.
Kovacic also was cooking in the midfield. They have a really great team.
That's the guy that worries me. That guy worries me. Kovacic, sorry, is one of those midfielders. I like him because I like the way he plays. He can keep the ball, he can carry the ball, he can play, combine
tight spaces.
Tight spaces. He can give you anything. You give me him and you give me Modric in one team, and you just hope Brozovic is having a good game. That midfield is world class on any day.
It's a solid midfield, yeah.
You're right about that.
They matched the Brazilian midfield and beat them at it. So.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that Argentina can literally talk about now is just the fact that we have Messi. I don't see much separating the two teams, because Croatia can really defend. I mean, if you can keep Neymar and company at bay for 120 minutes, you definitely know what
But
you're doing.
but here's the thing now. If you look at the game against the game that we just watched against Netherlands,
Mhm.
in the second half, Messi, you couldn't really like tell how often he actually did something that could be like, okay, this is the Messi advantage.
Mhm.
Which is another thing that really was in the first half. He was everywhere. He was getting on the ball. He was running. He was trying to shoot and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
But after they had scored in that extra time, he just looked. The other guys were running, but he just looked like he wasn't interested anymore. Which I
Yeah,
don't
the
know
same
what
thing
it
we've always.
is.
No, but that's the same thing we've always talked. That's what he
Yeah.
talked about. Sorry, that's kind of how he's almost always like.
Mhm.
But if he doesn't score, and if his team is losing, it quickly looks very bad for him.
Mhm.
I think he had a couple of looks. I think what am I calling Brazil? Argentina should have not dropped as deep as they did the second half. The minute that they started getting that pressure and they invited that pressure, and with these big guys,
Yeah.
it's a wonder why for me Netherlands should have won that game before 90 was over, because
Netherlands should have played that game plan from the beginning of whipping those crosses in
the process
relentlessly.
yeah.
They should have put Dumfries at the edge there and Blind at the edge there, telling them to just kick the ball. And also,
Slammed them in.
it's a Bergwijn and Depay should not have started. They should have started De Jong and Woodhouse. Those are the people that should have started, because when Dumfries, when Bergwijn and Memphis were in there, they were playing the balls into their feet and trying to play the ball through. Those are ground balls. The Argentinian midfield and defense, they are really capable of dealing with those easily. That's why they didn't leave a shot on target until the goal. But if they were putting those balls in the air and put Luke De Jong and this kid, it could have been a different game.
You're playing to Lisandro Martinez's strengths.
Yeah.
Anything on the ground, you're not winning anything, and Otamendi is pretty decent at just keeping pressure. Romero almost the same. But the minute it became height, it was a different game. And I thought they were going to actually carry it over even into extra time, but they stopped.
Yes, right. They were playing for the penalties. You could say even when the goalkeeper was trying to waste time, they should have never done that. They were like, okay, let's try, our luck with the penalty gods, and
well,
in
maybe
the end,
it's me being an Argentina fan. Argentina have also been one of the best teams as far as penalties go. They have a very good record.
Well, thanks to their goalkeeper, he's he's brilliant with penalties.
So I wouldn't have played that card. I would have kept the energy on, because you could see Argentina, when they actually should have sniffed 2 goals in the last 15.
Yeah.
That Van Dijk clearance and that deflection, even for Enzo's left-footed shot from the corner, that was going in.
That hit the post.
And also then the one that hit the post, yes. Oh my God, that would have been a way to just kill it. But it looks like we have a nice playoff, encounter between those two. And tomorrow we definitely have Portugal and Morocco, and France and England. It's just clash of the titans everywhere you go. You don't want to take your eyes off it. We'll be here giving you the commentary on it, and giving you all of our ill-advised opinions as fake football pundits. But today, the fake football pundits are out. Remember to subscribe, comment, and engage with the channel. Thanks.
Yeah.